Welcome to the Raptors Show on the Sportsnet Radio Network, presented by Coors Light. Go from full-time to game time. Coors Light, made to chill. Make sure you find the Raptors Show wherever you listen to podcasts and subscribe, and please rate and review the show. I'm your host, Wim Lou. I'm joined all day today. No guests. It's just my two co-hosts, Blake Murphy, Alex Wong. Blake, how you doing, man?
I'm good. Are you doing the whole show, or are you you're dressed like Inspector Gadget today? Do you got like a crime to go solve, or what?
No. Yo, shouts to Inspector Gadget.
You're looking sweet, bro.
Wow. All right. we did put Derek on the drop, so you'll be hearing that drop 86 times in the next 2 weeks.
Next 2 hours.
Alex,
For anyone who missed it yesterday, Will tried to talk as if he could maybe hang for a minute with Dennis Schroeder
to
on
an
the court.
NBA player.
You did that. You set that up.
I did set that
You know
up.
what? Let's litigate this like Azotam. Whose fault was that?
Yeah.
Who set it
no
up?
fault, man. Here's the
No,
thing.
we're here to blame people.
We're not here for anything other than to make content. You guys understand. It was good content made.
Yeah.
When Dennis Schroeder trash tagged me, a media member.
Yes.
We have
Go Gadget content.
Yes,
we have such a fun job, man.
Yeah,
you guys ever think about that? We have such a fun job that we do.
Yeah.
I think about that a lot on my subway in at 1:15 every day.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, it's true. Like last night, I'm like up until 1:30,
It's good
having a
times.
couple beers, watching basketball. I'm like, yep, yeah, I'm working.
Oh,
Would you like to ID the beers,
No.
or were you not doing that?
No, not
Okay. I'm just gonna keep sipping on my generic coffee.
yeah.
In
me
my
too.
generic
I
cup.
got a nice generic tea here.
Anyways, Friday's show. So we got a lot coming up today. We're gonna look at some quarterly NBA awards, talk some Raptors, Pascal extensions, maybe revisit some moves that the front office could have done differently the past 3 years. Bobby Webster, if you're driving to pick up your kids, turn off around 2:40. Gonna go around the NBA.
Chad Sanders, Luke Wynn, if you're listening, I'm going to rip all the 905 moves too. They're back to
Yeah.
the losing side last night.
man.
So
They don't want to see a healthy 905, man.
They saw it.
We got
they still don't have
two
JFL.
winners,
Sorry.
two winners of the Raptor show chain, which is being held under secrecy. Will actually has
I don't
no
even know.
idea
Yeah.
who's winning the chain, but I
So
guess
does that mean you're rolling up with 2 chains, or they like this is 2 chains, but it's co-chains?
it is going to be 2 chains. So this is a typical Friday Raptor show. Basically, we do whatever we want. I mean,
every day.
we do that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday too, but it's
The only times we don't do what we want is when Mark Stein calls us.
Or Dennis.
Or Dennis when Dennis calls us. And even half the time, me and Dennis are joking around anyway.
yeah.
So Dennis, put us in the vlog once again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, thank you.
This is Dennis and Mark Stein are getting content out of us as well. This is a
it's fine.
synergistic relationship.
That's what we're here for, you know?
And to be
People want
honest-
serious basketball talk all the time. Sorry.
Stein. You know, Stein putting the whole Raptor show logo in the middle of the newsletter a couple weeks ago was really cool.
Shout out to Drake Cereal.
And yo, all jokes aside, Stein's newsletter is really good. Like, you guys should subscribe and pay for it and all
and
this stuff.
like really well read.
Yeah.
A lot of it's got to be one of the top sports ones on Substack.
Yeah, it's well reported. It's got great stats, keeps you informed. Like, we're not just doing this song and dance because, you know, Stein comes on the show. Like, he's really good. Breaking, Mark Stein is good.
All right, man.
All right, let's get to it. Let's do the format today. Everybody just pick a topic. Blake, you can start.
All right, I'm going to set you up. Actually, I'm going to my topic off the top. We're going to talk about the Los Angeles Clippers, who are they're here. It's good. They've won 6 in a row.
Scary hours.
After that initial losing streak that they had when they first acquired James Harden, they are 11-3 since that time. I know the Warriors are going through it pretty badly that last night. That's kind of a co-topic off of this Clippers game is that, you know, Wiggins came off the bench for the first time in his career. They still didn't look like they had much. And that's on a night where Klay shot the ball really well. But for me, this was all about the Clippers. They seem to have figured out the offensive balance now when Harden shares the floor, at least with, you know, Kawhi and Paul George. Paul George didn't play last night. So it's not the best example.
They don't want to see a healthy Clipper team.
Yeah. But you saw James Harden.
They
who
don't want to
has-
see a healthy 2-1-2 or whatever the area code is.
Man.
Sorry, Blake.
That's okay. We're going to call it the LC for El Segundo because the OC is going to come up a little later. But so Harden, when he's shared the floor with Paul George and Kawhi, his usage rate is down to 16% this year. But you see on a night like last night where, hey, there's no Paul George. And this is part of the thinking here, right? Is Paul George is going to miss some games. Kawhi's played every game, but theoretically he'll miss some. James Harden shifts back into a bit more of a scorer mode, drops 28 with 15 dimes last night.
He was awesome.
He goes Tyrese Halliburton with the stat line, or Trae Young against the Raptors. It was great. So, I mean, Alex, you got to feel like you were in on the Clippers before the Harden trade. You were one of the most optimistic after the Harden trade that they figured out. You got to be feeling pretty good right now.
I do. And I think I think the thing about James Harden too is that you can expect this level of performance from him once he works himself into shape in the regular season. And the more encouraging thing is on Philly last year, they needed him to be that co-star next to Joel Embiid. I really don't think they need that from him this year. Like if James Harden is like a competent point guard, he gives you the scoring. At the end of the day, it just comes down to whether Kawhi looks like a top 5 player in the world, and he has done that. In this last stretch here, if Kawhi is healthy, they're ready to go. This is why I picked the Clippers at the start of the season to win it all. It's just I like them against anybody in a 7-game series if Kawhi is healthy. Like they have a chance.
Yo, how we feeling, man? How we feeling?
Oh,
God damn it. I regret that one.
No, you don't.
I did.
It's all good.
The other thing too is like
Yeah.
this is about how Harden fits as well. But like why the Kawhi Paul George thing was supposed to be so interesting in the first place is like Kawhi's hitting 42% of his threes after hitting 42% last year. James Harden over the last 2 years is at 40%. Paul George is usually around the 40 to low 40s mark on 3-point shooting. No matter which one of these guys takes on the offense, they have like, even with Zubats on the floor, like as long as Russ isn't the 5th guy, they have pretty pristine spacing in that group. Even if it's like, hey, this possession is going to be Harden ISO, we're going to go, Zubats dunker and 3 out. Other than that, they still have pretty good spacing.
Yeah, I mean, what have we said about the Clippers for the last couple of years is obviously, number one, they got to stay healthy, and so far they have, although Paul George is out right now. But for the most part, the Clippers have been healthy. Kawhi playing every game. And the other thing is, you always got that sense that they needed a point guard, somebody to set the table so that the offense isn't so static. And it's like, I know that like they got Harden at a distressed price, and I know Harden obviously kicked up a huge fuss and is snitching every single week to Sam Amick about.
By the way, congrats to Daryl Morey getting a contract extension today to 2028.
Cool. Yeah, congratulations.
Yay,
Win a
Daryl.
championship, once in your life. But
Make the finals.
make the finals once in your life. But they swapped out like Marcus Morris, Robert Covington, KJ Martin. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like
Why Batum on the floor?
yeah, they took Batum in. They took Batum out actually. But like you flipped that into James Harden, and like I understand that James didn't get off to the greatest of starts and the Clippers didn't get off to the greatest of starts, but they found that way to make it work. Russell Westbrook volunteered to come off the bench is actually massive.
Westbrook, by the way, in lineups where Kawhi, Paul George, and James Harden are all on the floor, Westbrook has not, like his usage rate is still 28%.
Okay.
Even when he shares the floor with those 3 guys, it's pretty amusing where like he's gone off the bench and like I think they probably told him like, hey, if you come off the bench, you can take as many possessions as you want. And like they meant with the bench, and he was like, no, I could just take as many possessions as I want.
But I like the fact that he's bought in. I like the fact that he's made that option available to Tyronn Lue, because like this is a veteran group ready to win. And as long as they stay healthy, I still worry a little bit about Zubac sometimes. I don't know if they'll close all the time with him on the floor, but
Zu El Cinder.
But they also have other depth on the roster, including Amir Coffey, who came off.
Oh yeah.
I guess he doesn't typically play for them, but
he's
started
averaging like 3 points a game.
Yeah, but he started for them yesterday.
Triple.
Because of Paul George's absence, and as you joke about the triple.
Man,
I gotta ask you, Alex, because you're a diehard Clipper fan, are you not?
Yeah, it's me and Billy Crystal.
Yeah, that's right.
And the guy from Malcolm in the Middle.
Sure.
Malcolm or Walter White?
I think middle.
Okay. All right. So Amir Coffey actually has an incredible nickname. Probably my favorite nickname in the league right now.
And it's not on Basketball Reference. So this is a real heads only. You got to be watching.
I didn't really scan the rundown today. So
I was listening to the broadcast from the game last night, and I didn't even catch it then. But when I watched the highlights over this morning, Amir Coffey's nickname is the Folgers Soldier.
Yo, that's amazing.
That's an amazing nickname. We finally got a good one. Obviously, Folgers is the instant coffee or whatever.
That's amazing.
His last name's Coffee.
No,
Folgers
I
Soldier.
love that.
The best part of waking up is Amir Coffey going to the cup.
So there was a lot of Amir Coffey going to the cup.
Do you think they run the French press? Yeah.
Oh, man. You guys, I'm really happy you guys have this.
His social media handles, by the way, are coffee shop.
Can we call him Kobe Beans Bryant?
Ooh. Oh, man.
This is all I'm here for,
man.
No, Folger Soldier. So
yeah.
Folger Soldier is
that's
good,
amazing. Wait, but it's not on Basketball Reference?
No, it's not on Basketball Reference. I mean, it's Amir Coffey. Like, you got to really get there to get all these nicknames up there. But shout out to Clipper play-by-play man Brian Seaman, I believe his name is. He also had a couple other quotes because Amir Coffey had 18 points, so you have to say his name quite a few times. And each time he would put in some sort of Coffee reference. Like, There was an Amir Coffey. I think he like took it to the basket or something, and they said something about filling the cup. He also said something about good to the last drop. There was also an Amir Coffey finished strong at the rim and won. And he said, "Oh, I like my coffee strong."
Oh, I like that. That's actually really cool.
I was getting ready because that game was close down to the wire, and he was on the floor late. Yeah. But he had 2 bricks in the last few minutes, and I thought for sure we were getting a coffee is for closers call to a big Amir Coffey clutch shot.
Yeah.
Well, can we do the same on the broadcast with Grady Dick? You think? Just
Maybe.
like a bunch of puns?
I hope so.
Okay.
You know what, Matt Devlin?
He's not even playing closing minutes with the 905 right now, so I don't know if we can.
They should workshop that at 905.
Yeah. Ben Schulman, get on it. He's been calling the last few games on TV for Matt Cullen. Well, Ben Schulman's always the 905 radio guy.
Oh, I didn't know this.
But Matt Cullen, who calls the 905 games on TV, has been off the last couple. So Ben Schulman's been on them. Him and Warren Ward have really quick chemistry. It's a good broadcast.
That's amazing.
But yeah, they've got to work on the Grady Dick puns because we're not going to see him at the end. Like Matt Devlin is not going to have a chance for a little while, I don't think.
Yeah.
Another rough one for Grady.
No, those are great. But on the other side, the Warriors lost again.
Yeah, sorry, I have two small ones on the Clippers before we're off. First, just want to acknowledge Norm is such a good piece on that team. Like
quarter,
5th year in a row of hitting 40% or better on catch and shoot threes. He's one of the best guys attacking out of the corner at closeouts. And we mentioned the spacing earlier. He's just such a good piece with them. And then the other thing was, were you guys? This was not late in the game, but Chris Paul just full on tried to body check Daniel Tice on a rebound, and they had to review it for a flagrant. And honestly, the only reason Chris Paul didn't get a flagrant was he couldn't reach high enough on Daniel Tice.
Is Chris Paul gonna do a profile with Ramona Shelburne talking about how he didn't realize how long it was that he was body checking Daniel Tice?
Yeah,
that's tough.
I saw someone
Chris
tweet
Paul's
that
so washed right now, man.
talks
it makes me
about.
sad.
Draymond talks about those incidents like he turned into a werewolf or something like that. He doesn't really remember, but he's trying to piece it together.
This is what I want to talk about. On the other side, the Warriors lost again. Andy Liu confirmed cooked. And Steve Kerr, Sleepy Steve,
he woke up.
Did make an adjustment, bringing in Will's favorite player. What's his first name?
Brandon
Pajemski.
Yeah.
He didn't play that well last night. And Wiggins came off the bench. They still lost. We talked about the Warriors already, but it was interesting to me, all the comments coming out about Draymond. You basically had his last 2 on-court victims, Rudy Gobert and Yusuf Nurkic, saying nice things about him, saying that I hope he can figure it out, off the court, whatever his issues are. KD said the same thing.
Damn. How many ops does Draymond have? We needed a starting 5 of Draymond's ops.
But these are all people that he's beef with, right?
Yeah.
And also, look, they're nice things to say, and Draymond is well respected, but it's also a little bit of Gobert's quotes after the incident where it was Draymond thought he was doing something he didn't have it. Being I hope he gets some help is also a little bit of a.
I was reading it more that Draymond's intimidation tactics don't work anymore. These guys aren't even riled up by him. They feel bad for him.
Didn't respond.
Yeah, they feel bad for him. Yeah, they feel bad for him, and I referenced that Ramona Shelburne article. I think Draymond obviously trying to just change the narrative on what this is. All this is you're out of control.
Yeah,
and you've been too violent on the court.
It's too early to change the narrative.
You have been running around choking, punching people, stomping on people for 18 months. You don't get to do a redemption narrative the day after.
18 months. It was the 2016 finals when you got suspended from a finals game for this stuff.
I thought it was a big deal too that Steve Kerr directly referenced. He said the Draymond that punched Jordan Poole, that's the guy that we need to fix. I thought that was a big deal too for him to reference that directly, because they've been dancing around that.
Who took a below the belt shot at LeBron in the 2016 finals. That guy's fine.
Yeah.
We need to fix the one who's not doing it in leverage spots and doing it against guys.
I hope Draymond gets better, but it's come on, man. We got higher media literacy than that. We know what this is. You can't change the narrative on this.
He even tried not doing it on his pod. Also, shouts you saying control the narrative. I thought you were Roman Roy this whole episode, man.
Also, it's just too early for that.
Brett,
you can't do that a day after you get suspended.
No, but I feel it's insulting the public's intelligence.
Yeah, go do some actual work.
We know what this is. Well, you swung at Nurkic.
Yeah. Well, he said he was flopping, which is the funniest defense. He's like, yo, guys, I was just flopping.
Don't suspend me, fine me.
Yeah,
Give me a flopping fine.
Yo, I didn't mean to hit him. I was just flopping. It's crazy.
Anyways, I don't know. I don't know if you guys have anything else to add about the Warriors on court. Nah. Made the change. Starting lineup,
kind of took product. My worry for them long term, and by long term I mean for next season even, is Moody and Pods are two of their like most promising young players. They're both kind of small, and of course, you're going to hope to keep Steph Curry around. I just don't see a like long-term kind of scenario where those three play together. Like the Clippers were just like the Clippers aren't even the biggest team in the world. Like obviously they got big wings or whatever, but like the Warriors are just small across the board. You know, when you really watch them play. So
and like I think Moody could defend a little bit at the 3, but like if you're gonna get away with that, you can't have two guys small at 1 and 2, and like even Clay at this point, like I mean, you probably want him guarding more 3-4 athletically anyway, but like he's not huge either. So then you're talking about you've got 4 guys in this bin.
But that's the thing. They actually need Draymond. They need Wiggins. There's no solution other than those guys find their regular levels again.
And they're not trade assets. They're salary matching maybe, but like if you would have to attach a ton to Draymond for someone to take that contract on at this point.
Draymond to the Pistons?
I mean, he is from there.
What?
He's a Michigan guy.
You trying to do Mouse at the Palace Part 2?
James Wiseman is back.
If Draymond ends their 39-game losing streak? Come on, man.
No, James Wiseman's going to walk in and see Draymond in the locker room and be like, "Ni hao again."
Who would Draymond fight in Detroit? Definitely Isaiah Stewart. That would
Oh
be
my God! No. Adam Silver's got to step in once again, man. You can't have Mouse in the Palace Part 2.
But yeah, it's looking tough for the Warriors. Like they got to get back to 500 at least, I think, to get back into the play-in conversation, and it's slipping a little bit here. So.
And like
it's slipping a lot.
It's early to do the games behind thing, but like when it's this tight, they're already 3 games out of the play-in.
I always look at the 500 thing. Like if you need to be over 500, like it's going to get tough, especially in the West. So,
also, is it when you watch them? Do you also feel a little bit sad for Chris Paul about how washed he is? Because like we're so used to like seeing LeBron. Like
I don't know, man. He still has his bird rights. So
Kaka. He's
Patrick Kaka right now, man.
He's had a long, like, illustrious career. Like, this is what happens when you get to this age.
You know what? Here's my thing. Here's my question to you. Name your favorite Chris Paul play if he's had such a long, illustrious.
My favorite Chris Paul play.
Chris Paul, David West, 17-foot pick and pop, obviously.
You're saying Chris Paul got no moments?
No, I'm just saying. Give me your favorite Chris Paul moment.
I don't know.
You love his career?
When he advanced to the finals for the first time at Staples and hugged Billy Crystal. What's your favorite CP moment?
That's what I mean. I mean, dunking on Dwight Howard is pretty cool.
He dunked on Dwight?
Yeah, when he was young.
Damn.
When he was the Hornets, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like Chris Paul, man.
But that was like, we're talking like the 09 era. We talking like,
I get it.
We're talking Drake just came onto the scene.
He running pick and roll with David West and Brandon Bass back in the day, man. Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Who did he punch in the crotch?
Oh,
Macklemore?
back in college.
He did it in the NBA too, though.
Julius
he did it in college.
Hodge was in college.
Julius Hodge. Demoy Hodge is relative, I'm sure.
Because Hodge always goes on Twitter every time CP accidentally punches somebody in the balls.
I think he did it to Macklemore in the the
rapper, the rapper, or the player.
Macklemore. Yeah. The celeb All-Star game. The celeb All-Star game. He's out there. No, Ben, I think he did.
Damn, does Chris Paul have no moments?
Bro, I'm gonna ask you everybody who's listening to just reflect.
But that's the point,
just stop and
man.
We're talking about 20 years of a surefire Hall of Famer, but I don't know if he has moments.
He's also like, I can't feel too bad for him.
The game winner against the Spurs in the first round. In
that game 7. That game 7.
Yeah.
And then they blew a 3-1 lead right after.
If you asked me to describe more details of that game winner, I would struggle. I think it was like a leaning fadeaway in the lane over Tim Duncan or something. I don't know.
Yeah, damn.
It's not hitting the same way. I'm just saying, man. But anyway, yeah. He also the number one thing when you search Chris Paul on the YouTube is Chris Paul hits huge 3 to cut lead to 42.
Honestly, that's the best meme ever. Especially when I was watching the Raiders Chargers last night.
Oh my goodness.
But
a game so bad their GM and coach got fired this morning.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Damn.
Oh man, what was I going to say about Chris Paul?
Raptors fans want to see after Raptors lose to the Knicks.
If they lost the NBA equivalent of 69-21 or whatever the final of that one was, you might see it. Like if the Raptors came in tonight and lost by 80, you might see something happen tomorrow.
Yeah, do you think the coach should be automatically fired if they lost? Like,
I think they should quit. I think they should do us the standard of like the decency of just being like, look, I'm gonna quit, guys.
Kaka. What else? The Bulls? I see the Bulls in here.
Yeah, I mean, Will didn't get to pick a topic. I kind of commandeered the whole first segment with Clippers Warriors stuff.
My topic was really just did you know Amir Coffey had a great nickname? But if I had to pick one, I'll go with the Bulls. I mean, like they continue to be competitive. They were up for a lot of the game yesterday against the Heat. Now, whatever, the Heat are kind of like, it's so annoying because they look so good and so well oiled and executing well. And Orlando Robinson's knocking down threes. And Duncan Robinson slipping to the basket.
That's
for
noodles.
layups.
That's Asher noodles.
That's crazy. But like against the Bulls, they didn't do any of that. Also, Vucevic looked great yesterday as well. But Kobe White is just on this incredible streak. Since Zach LaVine has gone down, which I believe was the end of November, it was a game against Milwaukee. It was a game that he missed. There's been 7 games since, and Kobe White, who was already in the starting 5, but obviously has stepped up in the pecking order behind probably just Amar. He's averaging 26 points, 6 rebounds, and 7 assists, shooting 51% from 3 on 10 attempts per game since Zach LaVine went down 7 games ago. The Bulls are 5-2 in that stretch, including a win last night against Miami. So just want to give Kobe White his flowers. Also, by the way,
I'm white, you know? I'm white.
Whoa.
W-H-I-T.
Whoa. Yeah, actually Kobe White is not, but
Yeah, you White, you Ben Affleck.
Drew Eubanks is, which I'm always surprised. But go on.
Yeah, Kobe White making $12 million a year this year, next year, and the year after.
We want White?
I mean, I think the Raptors probably could have gotten Kobe White at some point. This is not one of those like
there was definitely a trade deadline moment last year where I was DMing with a Bulls person about like a Kobe White Chris Boucher swap.
Yeah, that's exactly the swap I had in mind.
Now you're not doing it. Like the Bulls aren't.
I mean, clearly the Bulls aren't doing it now, but my point is salute to Kobe White. Like that was
Okay.
He's been balling like
You
crazy.
know his agent or something? Did you get bought?
Who is his agent? Honestly,
I want.
What?
Yeah, I'm white, you know?
Okay, I thought you were gonna get an Iguodala.
2 turntables today.
Man,
This guy wants more Kobe White on his Serato.
jeez.
It's Ty Sullivan and Steve Human.
Those are the what?
Those are his agents.
Why did you pause like Adam Silver?
His name is Heumann. How would you say that?
Human?
Human?
Why did you have to pause?
I don't know. It was
All right, so your topic was Kobe White. What a waste of a topic.
My topic is just salute to Kobe White.
I think
man.
the more interesting part of this is like, yes, obviously Zach LaVine's down. There are more touches for Kobe White to absorb.
Sure, yeah.
He's been super efficient. Like he said, 43% of his threes this year. That helps a lot if you're a ball in your hand guard. But to me, you look and it's 5-2. Kobe White has stepped up into the Zach LaVine possessions. DeMar has settled in nicely, as we know he can, to like, hey, I'm going to be kind of a shooting guard, but kind of a point guard too, because Kobe White's not a true point guard. And then they've been, even though Kobe White is not remotely good defensively, they've been better defensively since Zach LaVine went down. And I do wonder, like, I know we're going to talk about some of the notes in Jake Fisher's latest at Yahoo today later, but it seems like the market is fairly cool for Zach LaVine with the 4 years and like $180 million that's left on his deal. And I wonder if this, even though it's a positive for the Bulls and the Bulls players, hurts their Zach LaVine leverage, because it's more evidence that at least in this Bulls construction, Zach LaVine's numbers and the fun plays he does and stuff weren't really driving winning, and in fact maybe those pieces fit a little better.
I think people got to know what they're getting with Zach LaVine, right? Like you clearly need, if you're getting Zach LaVine, you clearly need perimeter scoring, probably in isolation,
Raptors,
or even off ball as well.
Yeah, really good shooter,
and you need pretty good defense around him. A lot of playmaking around him too, because it doesn't seem like he's not like he can't pass. He definitely draws extra attention, but you know, he's not the greatest playmaker either. Yeah. So essentially, you just need to score. What's going on? You got
breaking Evan Mobley.
I have one more note off of last night's games, which was, first of all, the Cavs remain down bad, but Darius Garland fractured his jaw in that game in a collision with Porzingis and is out multiple weeks. And Woj just tweeted that Evan Mobley's out 6 to 8 weeks.
Damn.
The Cavs are down bad. Like they're only a game over 500. They've been outscored on the season. The defense has fallen off with Mobley
from hell vibes.
And now no Mobley and Garland for a little while. Like Mobley, that timeline is like until the trade deadline, basically. I don't know, man. Donovan Mitchell as a pending free agent, who there are rumblings the Knicks will be after him in free agency. Do you guys think the Cavs would like look at this and put Mitchell on the table?
You got to be pretty realistic about all of these things.
They gave up a ton for him. If they think there's even a small chance of him walking in free agency,
I feel like they're kind of all in on trying to win, and I just don't see a team like Cleveland making that move. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know about all in trying to win. I mean, look, I do think that. Wow, I mean, both of these on the same day is difficult. It's not like they have 2 more starters just waiting on the bench.
Yeah, you look like you feel terrible.
You paying Dean Wade?
Man. You probably have to play a lot of Dean Wade. I mean, they have been better this year with just one of the bigs on the floor, but I mean, still, like.
Yeah, I mean, they're only a game over 500. They're the team that just above the Raptors.
They were my over-under lock, man.
Wow.
had to take a mully on
It's all
that.
good, man. I locked the Grizzlies.
You really did lock the Grizzlies, even though they're trying to lock John Morant.
Don't worry. Man.
All right,
He's gonna
my
be on his
topic.
Best behavior.
My topic, yesterday we briefly referenced the infamous bingo card
Mm,
that I created last year towards the end of last season
that's right.
for Raptors fans to play with. So
I don't think anyone printed this out and actually played bingo, by the
no,
way.
not even JR Manitat.
Yeah, no.
So I wanted to go through these bingo things that I created and see if it still applies to this season. Okay. So the free square in the middle was anytime the camera pans to Nick Nurse yelling at a ref. So we're done with that one.
Yeah, I guess Darko's not really yelling at refs the same way.
I think Darko tried to approach Scott Foster the other
Oh,
day, and Scott
yes.
Foster was like,
Yeah.
"Send me an email, brother."
I'm not sure this was picked up on the broadcast, but
Mm.
we could see it from obviously in the arena. There was a play where Darko was complaining and yelling at Scott Foster, who had his head turned. Scott Foster turned around and looked at him, and Darko just kind of backed off.
Saw that black eye and was like, "Oh, I don't know, this guy's tough."
Oh, I have a source on that potentially.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
I hear.
On air or off air?
Oh man.
You gonna share this on air?
Yeah. I'm gonna
Oh,
share this
okay.
on air. I heard Scott Foster is a big pickleball fan, so he could have conceivably gotten it from pickleball.
This seems like an excuse you would come up with if you lost a gambling debt.
are. Their names are Scott Foster, and it's pickleball.
Yeah,
Look,
we-
I would come up with a better cover than pickleball, but yeah.
All right, let's see. Next one is random role player on opposing team sets a career high against us.
I feel like
This
that's not
has-
really happening much either.
Doesn't apply this year.
Yeah. Well, it's because Nick's defense was so much about like, let's shut down the stars, put 2-3 guys at the stars, leave someone open all the time, and then
Yeah.
Doug McDermott has 30.
It wasn't a career high. Max Strus did drop 20 and a quarter.
Yeah, but I saw
Julius Randle had a great game the other
Quentin
night too.
Grimes
I don't-
went from
Oh, yeah,
like,
role player.
I'm
We're talking
getting-
role player.
I'm getting benched to I'm going to can 5
I don't know if
threes.
you remember this, but Max Strus got his contract because he also had a huge game against the Raptors. This
Yeah.
was preseason 2020.
Yeah, I was there in Tampa Bay.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
It
so
was
you
the
would totally
empty
remember
arena
this,
preseason game. It was very
Oh, he
weird.
went
And
off?
Max Strus had like 30, and we were
Yeah.
like, who is
He
Max
hit like
Strus?
8
Damn.
threes, I think.
Yeah. Anyway.
Raptors get 3+ rebounds on a single possession, but still don't score.
Oh, that's still
Still
stable.
applicable.
It's a staple
Yeah.
of the offense. Actually.
Also, it
Yeah.
happened several times for the Hawks last game with Sadiq Bey.
Okay.
He just kept missing his own rebounds.
This is
By the way, Sadiq Bey, the Pistons' leading scorer for the last 5 years.
you love saying that, Mr. Wingstop. Offense goes into a 5-minute scoring drought, no field goals.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to start most games.
Okay.
Start most games, second unit sometimes does that. Yeah.
I just want to see how much has changed.
Okay, yeah.
Raptors come out of a timeout with an inexplicable offensive play call.
Yeah,
they had
that's
Still?
what it
They
is.
had
Yeah.
3 in a row the other night in the third quarter.
Nice.
Yo, we got Derek locked in.
And then we
today.
had
This
the
is Super
2
Bowl.
game winners, the Gary Trent and Scotty Barnes, both pinned in the corner ATOs.
Yeah. Next one, Scotty scores all of his points in the fourth quarter. We've seen less of this year.
We've seen less of this, but it is still now just really fun to see him do that. He is like
Scotty Barnes.
he is just one of the best fourth quarter scorers, which is fun.
Okay. Raptors win possession battle by 10+, but still lose by double digits.
Not happening much anymore.
How much did they end up losing the next game by?
Not
I
double
guess
digits.
Okay, because they won the possession battle by double digits in that one, but they still lost.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough.
Bench gives up a double-digit lead in less than 4 minutes.
It's still happening.
Okay.
But they don't have as many leads from the starters anymore.
yeah. Raptors go scoreless against a zone for 2 minutes.
Happened the other night.
Happened the other night. They're not getting zoned as much though. I
No,
will
but
get this out.
Atlanta did mess them up a little bit with the zone there.
Yeah, it took a Raptors a long time. Hopefully they've adjusted today.
Yeah.
Rematch.
Lose on the final possession of the game on something stupid. I think this was because of the
The
D'Angelo
Bulls game?
This was because of
Oh,
the
yeah, the
D'Angelo
Bulls
Russell
game.
rip through last year.
Yeah,
Yes,
the
yes,
Bulls
yes.
game with the Caruso Pascal push off.
Yeah.
Or all the missed free throws. You could pick a bunch from that game.
Oh,
It's
so-
happened at least once.
so
It happened
still.
8 times in that one game.
yeah.
Raptors start 0 of 10 from the field. Have we seen that this
Not
season?
quite that bad, but
As much. The Nets game was pretty nasty.
Yeah. Jakob Poeltl gets dunked on. Has he gotten dunked on?
Hasn't really gotten dunked on. The thing with Jakob Poeltl is he's on 2 John Morant posters.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Opposing team shoots 60% in the first half. That still happens.
yeah, first half, second half, whole
That
game.
happened last game, didn't
Yeah.
it?
Scotty,
And the game before
The
that.
Knicks almost shot like 60 for the game, remember?
they were devilish. Scotty throws his hands up at ref for 2 straight possessions.
That still happens sometimes.
Yeah.
We got Joe Wieskamp in here. Joe Wieskamp hits 2 threes. How desperate were we?
Who's this year's Joe Wieskamp?
We don't know yet. It was a midseason. We need some. I guess it might be Grady Dick.
It's probably Grady.
Yeah.
So, like, we're going to play you 4 minutes because we need a 3.
Was Grady Dick's 16 points against the Sixers Joe Wieskamp's 3 threes against the Timberwolves?
Oh, come on.
Wheezy baby.
Gary passes on a fast break.
Oh, man. Yeah. Remember the start of the season? He was missing a lot of those opportunities on the fast break, which I still never understood.
Yeah.
It's a layup.
Next one is you come out of a Raptors win feeling nothing.
Now
I get why PR was kind of mad at this.
has that happened to me specifically this year? Probably not, no.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
we need an update for this one too. It's only Fred and Gary hit more than 2 threes. So who's the Fred and Gary this season?
There was a game where
probably Scotty and Gary this year.
There was a game where Scotty and Precious were the only ones to hit threes
They each
against
hit three,
Charlotte.
right?
Yeah.
Against Charlotte. Yeah.
I get Scotty and OG lead the team in threes.
Yeah.
So maybe it's those two.
Okay. At least 3 starters play 38 minutes. We haven't seen that much this year.
Not
No,
much.
I mean, last game was the fewest minutes the bench played all year, but even then, I think only one guy hit 38.
Yeah.
And they won.
Raptors trail by 9 with 2:30 left, and Devlin says they're right there.
Oh, he said
We heard that against the Knicks.
Yeah, we talked to him about it because
Yeah.
against the Knicks, I think the Raptors were down 5 with the Knicks having possession with like 15 seconds left. And Devlin's like, they're still in this. And I was like, man, did you believe that? Did you really believe that? And he's like, well.
And you see the Giannis Glizzy Gone commercial. Man, I missed that one.
I do miss that one.
The Pacers should get James Johnson to be in the commercial and erase the game ball.
It's the last time I've seen Simu as well.
Oh, word?
Sorry, that was rude. My bad, Simu.
Yeah, what's wrong with you today? What's your mood like?
My mood's fine. What's my C mood like?
You like the other two, right? The show?
Yes, which
his
was
his short arc on that show.
yes,
was really
when he
good.
pops up.
When they refer
Yeah.
to him exclusively as Marvel's Simu
Yeah.
Liu.
I kind of lost it when he did show up because they were referencing him
They
so
kept
much.
talking, and
I saw him in Barbie.
and they
What am I
only
saying?
say
What Chelsea's
Marvel's Simu Liu. They
Yeah,
say
yeah, yeah,
Marvel's
yeah.
every time.
No, it's
Yeah.
great. All right, break and then let's talk more Raptors.
Let's talk more Raptors because we still have yet to talk about the potential of Pascal's having an extension, which will be pretty big news if it happens. So we are going to take this break. I've been your host, Willow. You've been listening to The Raptors Show on the Sportsnet Radio Network. Welcome back to The Raptors Show on the Sportsnet Radio Network. I'm your host, Wim Lou. Continue to be joined by co-hosts Blake Murphy, Alex Wong. Alex, you got something?
Yeah, you just ordered from some bubble tea for us? Or
I
what's going
did,
on?
yeah. Because I remember yesterday's conversation that we had where Blake mentioned he never had a bubble tea before. So our job is to just put people on, you know?
You've never had a bubble tea?
No, I'm not much for sugary drinks. I'm a pretty much like I only drink coffee and water, and I guess beer.
This guy's a mere water, man.
But yeah, a mere water.
A mere H2O.
No, yeah, I'm not about the sugary
Damn.
drinks, so I'm gonna try it out though.
Yeah, well, you should come, Blake, on Sunday to the Cha Time downtown Markham location at 169 Enterprise Boulevard in Markham.
What's happening there, Alex?
I'm going to be there 2 to 4 p.m. to sign copies of Prehistoric. There will also be hardcover copies there available. Come through, hang out, want to see everybody from Markham, from, from Stouffville, from Richmond Hill, from Thornhill, from Scarborough, from Oshawa, Whitby, wherever. Come through Sunday, 2 to 4 p.m. Cha Time, downtown Markham, 169 Enterprise Boulevard. Back to regular scheduled programming.
You plugging events in the book is regular scheduled programming. I read the rundown. It's in here every day in some form or another.
Also, for people that want the Bruce Lee
Oh yeah.
Raptors CCYA Mitchell and Ness collab, we had Dennis and Clement talk about this on our program a couple of weeks ago. They sold out right away, but now it's restocked at ccya.org/shop. So have seen a lot of Raptors fans just in the city at the arena wearing it. Super cool. So go.
Yeah, one of the interns here had
Hey,
one
man.
of the shirts on.
Shouts to Kyle. I know my coworkers.
Who's Kyle?
the intern, isn't it? Is that his name?
Oh, man.
Oh, my God. I'm
pretty
Did I pronounce his name right?
Pretty sure it's
If-
Michael, but I'm not sure if it's
Michael?
Collins or okay.
Anyway,
Someone
if,
ideas
if an
them.
intern really wanted the
We tried,
chain
we
or
tried.
JR wanted the chain,
We
you know,
tried.
the Bruce Lee CCYA
Goodness.
collab is great, but I still need a pair of those like old Asics Onitsuka Tiger
Oh, yeah,
Bruce
yeah,
Lee
yeah, yeah.
shoes.
We need that too.
Find that on eBay in a 13, and I'll
yeah, I
make sure
keep
you.
forgetting-
I'll make sure you get the chain
I
that
keep
week.
forgetting you're a size 13. Man.
Yeah,
That
sometimes
is like the
14.
same shoe size as Lou Williams, man.
Alfonso McKinney is the tallest person I've talked to around basketball that has the same shoe size as me. He was like 6'8".
That's crazy. All right, Will Lou, pick your topic.
My topic is can we talk about the fact that Pascal may be potentially getting an
Yeah, so
extension?
set this up for me. What's going on here?
So Michael Grange of our teammate here at Sportsnet put out in a recent column the idea that, you know, the Raptors and Pascal Siakam there might be some actual movement or interest. It makes a lot of sense for them to get an extension done. Now, of course, we've been on this subject for pretty much better half of a year and a half now.
Every subject.
You know, I can relay that the Raptors did have some contact with Pascal Siakam on an extension at the beginning of last season. I think coming out of training camp in that kind of range. I don't think it was what both sides were. I don't know. I don't think it was what Pascal's side was looking for. Essentially, this has sort of been hanging over them for the last like year and a half now. And in Gridge's piece, he kind of explains the reasoning for the timing working out right now is because of the fact that once you sign him to an extension, he will not be trade eligible for 6 months. If you sign him now, 6 months from now would be around the time of the draft, around the time of free agency, the start of next year. You will have flexibility at that point to move Pascal with some money on his deal if you were to choose to do that. It is kind of funny to put a wedding ring on a situation like this, but then also just look ahead to when you could take it off. Ultimately, it is
chill.
Well, I wasn't looking at you specifically when I
okay.
said that,
Sorry,
but you know, you made it about yourself once again.
Sensitive. Yeah.
Blake, what do you think of this idea? And does it make sense for them to reach an extension here?
I mean, look, the cap mechanics that Grange lays out make some sense, right? If you were going to do an extension, it's still, to me, if you were going to do an extension, whether you wanted to keep Pascal long-term or whether you wanted him to be a trade asset, it still made the most sense to me to do it July 1st at the start of the offseason because he would be trade eligible now or like at the trade deadline as well as next summer.
Yep.
He would have had the financial security. You wouldn't have had this hanging over the team in the way it has. So I still think that was, if you had any intention of signing him, of extending him, it should have happened then. And this is why there are still trade rumors. And hey, India's called, Atlanta has called, Sacramento's going to call. And those things are like players learn to deal with it. I'm sure Pascal can deal with it. But, you know, you don't love having that stuff, like that being the talking point about your team all the time.
Yeah.
And then I also wonder, you know, the way Grange lays this out, again, makes sense cap mechanics wise. But one of the reasons that you can't trade someone for 6 months after, one of the reasons that teams are maybe hesitant to pay a lot for Pascal as a rental is because the CBA doesn't let you, I mean, it lets you extend and trade, but the window that you can do it in is really awkward. Like, I don't think Pascal, CBA-wise, would want to do an extend and trade. I think he would rather go to free agency, then sign an extension with bird rights. But the other part is like, you don't want teams signing guys to extensions just so they can turn around and trade them and make them a better trade asset. That's not really, even though it's allowed in the CBA, it's not really in the spirit of how transactions are supposed to work. And yes, everything's a loophole. But I would like to ask you, Will, you know, let's play out a scenario where, and let's put a 4 or 5 year max aside, because I think if that was on the table, Pascal's camp would have signed it by now. Like if there was a 4 or 5 year on it. So I'm thinking, you know, reading between the lines in Grange's piece, maybe they've discussed something like a 2+1, 2 year max with a player option. Raptors don't get the 4th, 5th year, but Pascal gets that 3rd year player option for a bit of control. Rehits the market at late 31, early 32. So let's say that's out there. The Raptors sign him to it. They turn around and trade him in the offseason. From a player management and optics around the league perspective, unless we hear firmly that Pascal was open to that trade, you think that's too risky on the, like, that's not a great way to treat someone who's been here a long time side?
I think what's going to be funny, and I know a lot of people are going to be groaning as soon as they hear this, but like, I think it gives the Raptors more time to evaluate because right now you're on the clock. I know.
Man.
Right now you're on the clock because his contract's expiring. This is creating this like uncertainty, this kind of anxiety. A 2+1 kind of deal that you mentioned tacked on to the end of this year would be kind of interesting because it would take Pascal, I believe, to 10 years of service time as well.
Yeah. Which really only matters if you're getting the full max next time. And I don't imagine that's there at 32, but who knows? He makes another all NBA.
Yeah.
The 3-point shooting comes around. Who knows?
Again, maybe, right? You never know. It could make some sense on the player side. I think from the Raptors side, regardless of whether or not you do choose to move on or not, again, you can at least make this decision kind of in tandem. And I think the biggest thing, you know, in their way right now is just, okay, so if opposing teams want to trade for Pascal, they would need to, I mean, this is technically tampering, but we also know how the league works, have some sort of indirect conversation about whether or not there's interest in re-signing. Like, for example, when the Raptors acquired Jakob Poeltl last year at the trade deadline, you know, they probably had some sort of idea or confirmation that he would want to sign and for roughly what amount. You know, this is just, again, what you would do acquiring a player in the last year of their deal. And so in that kind of instance, it's really difficult to be like, you know what? Indiana calls. It's hard to just say on the face of things, yeah, I really want to commit to 4 or 5 years in Indiana. Regardless of how good Indiana is right now, regardless of how good Tyrese Halliburton is right now, it's hard to say that. Even Sacramento, even Atlanta, these places, it's all difficult to say, especially when you're foregoing the chance of going to free agency. So when you actually have more term on the contract for these smaller market teams, so they know that they can have the player for at least 2 years, it just changes the value significantly. So if they do reach this extension, I think it'll at least help to sort of get some clarity on the season.
But it takes this February off the table.
It does take this February off the table. But if the offers are not full offers, if you're getting rental prices when you're really trying to look for, I don't know, a down payment. Sorry, I'm not Mark Savell. I don't understand any of this. And it's Toronto. I'm not going to ever own a home here. But
You will, brother, but that's a separate conversation.
in any case, you're not getting the full, if you're not getting the full price already and you're already getting that sense after, let's say, talking to the winter meetings or whatever.
G League Showcase next week in Orlando, yeah.
Yeah, if that's the sense that you're getting, then you might as well just roll the clock back.
Well,
that's what they're doing right
why
now.
do we keep looking at this from like just the Raptors front office perspective? Like I know Pascal, all reports has been like he wants to stay, and that was consistent like over the summer too when there was talks about potential extension. If I'm Pascal, I'm like turning 30 in April.
Yeah.
This team has gone nowhere in the last 2.5 years. Like, go ahead. If you want to make a trade in February, go ahead. Trade me to Sacramento, get your assets, and then I'll go to free agency and I'll just decide my future. I'll go to Philly. I'll go to any other, I could name probably 10 other situations that is better for Pascal to be on a winning team during his age 30 to 34 years. Why would I even stay? They've been so disrespectful to him during this whole process.
And that's where it gets complicated to offer the shorter deal because, look, one of the reasons that I have thought, or at least thought this summer, the stuff about what Pascal wouldn't commit to an extension was a little bit of bluffing to make sure he got the max. Because in most cases, if you are close to a max level player or a max level player, and if you're on a competitive team, the team holding your bird rights makes it a lot easier to max you out, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
You're I don't think Pascal would get the full max on a 5-year deal necessarily, but if that was on the table, only the team that has your bird rights can offer you that. Mm-hmm. So if you really want to keep him, he's not going to turn down a 5th year and the higher raises you could get with the bird rights and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But if all that's on the table is a 2+1 or even a 3-year max or something like that, then he can start looking at, well, there are 7 or 8 competitive teams that might have cap space or could find their way to cap space. If I'm only getting a 3-year max, maybe I'm willing to take a 4-year that is below the max. Give that team a little flexibility, opens up my market because you don't need a max slot for me. Now, the Raptors still in that case, you can help play ball with a sign and trade or whatever. But we saw with Fred how that went down. So the Raptors from how you handle the Pascal side, I think the idea on paper of sign him to an extension now and trade him in the offseason is risky from a player management and just they haven't treated people that way historically. They have told us with Kyle and with Fred and things like that, DeMar being the one exception, but they've told us hey, we didn't deal Kyle to a situation he didn't want to go to. We wanted to respect Fred and let him try free agency. Whether you agree with that or not, doing that to Pascal would go counter to how they've treated people in the past. But then I also do think it introduces this interesting risk where if a 4 or 5 year max or 4-year max or 5-year just below the max is on the table, Pascal has a lot of incentive to stay. If it's a shorter max and they think that might be just to turn around and trade him in the offseason, I do think Alex, his camp then has to think about well, what are the chances there's not a 3-year max out there for us in the offseason? And
there will be.
There's some injury risk there, but Pascal, on a per minute basis, the 3-point shooting is down, but the 2-point shooting is way up. The finishing's up. The mid range is up. He is having on a per minute basis as good a season as he had on the All NBA year. He's just playing fewer minutes. So I think there will be those offers out there. So this is a tough needle to thread for the Raptors negotiation wise.
I just hope there's ongoing conversations. That's all.
I think there are, based on Grange's reporting, and I know you're pretty tapped in around there as well. And that's
why I said hope.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Paid for.
No. I mean hope.
So okay, so let me ask you this then, Will, because we got 5 minutes left in the segment. So let's play out the scenario where what Grange is reporting and what you're hearing. That is in the air, and there's a potential. We'll rule out that it's the long-term max because again, I think if it was on the table, it would have been signed by now. So let's say it's a 3-year max, 2+1, whatever. They sign that. Are you then rolling through the trade deadline and into the summer with this group? Or are you looking to be a seller with other pieces? It's just the Pascal asset that you've rolled over to the summer. Like, what is the rest of roster scenario if Siakam were to sign an extension in the next little bit?
I think we've talked about this a few times, but where the Raptors have really turned themselves into this corner is like they don't have the supporting pieces around their three wings that they really do believe in Scottie, OG, and Pascal. And now when you're looking to make adjustments to that surrounding cast, you have a difficult time moving other pieces currently on your team for value because A, they're not really fitting well, or B, they're not really performing well, right? Like ideally, for example, you could turn Gary into somebody who maybe has a better off the dribble kind of package. Maybe has somebody who
You trying to do the Norm trade again? Trade Gary for someone who's a little younger, a little
I
more
have
control?
proposed Gary for Norm, but the Clippers are too good.
I think
now.
the Clippers are good on that one.
Damn
But like that kind of idea, but it's tough to do that when Gary's oh yeah, shouts to Norman Powell. I forgot he was also another Mamba. But like, it's difficult to do that right now when he's underperforming. It's difficult to move Jakob for too much value right now, especially considering the fact that he hasn't been the greatest fit. Now, I would argue that one probably is okay, just because like, what more did you want Jakob to do than what he's doing?
I also think that like when you looked at the fit of that, you didn't think they would get like a non-shooting point guard. Like Dennis and Jakob can both make sense, but them together playing all of the minutes with that trio is what doesn't really make sense. You probably get away with one, not both.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why there's so much push. That on top of the fact that I think a lot of people just genuinely don't believe that this core is that much better than a 500 team, which honestly, I'm kind of in that camp too.
Yeah,
but putting aside my own opinion on this, for you to actually get value, for you to get 2-3 pieces, which is probably what you would need to do to restock your depth. We talked so much about the Rudy Gay trade, for example. Like, you would need to move one of your valuable wings to do that. And so, yeah, if you retain Pascal, I think it's just good asset management, quite frankly, if you can get them to a 2+1 kind of scenario. Again, I don't know if those are the specifics being discussed. I don't think that
no, that's
it's gotten even that far.
That's me reading between the lines and figuring out what would make sense cap-wise.
But even something like that would really help you get more value in a trade when you choose to trade. Because right now, I think it would be a difficult time to get full value unless Pascal agrees to essentially re-sign whichever team trades for him.
And the tough part about this timing-wise is if you want him to be trade eligible, say, on draft night, when a lot of moves start making up, you can do the kind of fake, like, this trade has happened, but it officially won't happen until July 6th when this team has more cap space. You guys sign on that extension by the end of December. Otherwise, you're looking at, the restrictions. It's still easier in the offseason, and the offseason is long, so you can work that stuff out. But it's at least a little easier if you get that done in the next couple of weeks. But the trade deadline isn't for almost 2 months.
Also, by the way, shouts to Jake Fisher. He put out a trade column kind of detail, and he put in there, for Sacramento to do business with Toronto, the Raptors are expected to seek sweet shooting Keegan Murray.
Oh, he's sweet.
Oh, he's sweet.
I will say he has gotten so much better defensively.
Sweet.
Watching a chunk of that game last night, he's I meant to. This was one of the topics I wanted to do off the top, and I forgot. It's like who is our version of your Malik Monk? Where every time you watch a Kings game, Malik Monk's getting like a 30 piece.
We gotta talk about Malik in the second hour.
Yeah,
but real quickly,
Keegan Murray's got real better defensively.
Literally yes or no? Would you do a Pascal center trade for Keegan Murray?
Yeah, I mean, it depends what else is in there, but like he's a pretty nice like first chip.
Is that yes or no?
In a trade?
Yeah.
I mean,
throw in Vezenkov.
I think you get Sasha Vezenkov too, but we're gonna take a quick break.
In there too.
Yeah, okay, we'll get picks too. All right. Relax, I'm not doing this. All right, I'm your host, Will Lou, and you've been listening to the Raptors Show on the Sportsnet Radio Network. Welcome back to the Raptors Show on the Sportsnet Radio Network. I'm your host, William Lou. I continue to be joined by Alex and Blake. Big shouts to producer JR, aka intern JR, helping us get the re-up on the chat time. I think we just kind of needed a little pick-me-up, so I just got us some chat time,
Non-sponsored. This is personal.
No. Well, the conversation happened because Blake yesterday mentioned that he never had a bubble tea before. So I set myself a little reminder for 2:00 today to order some bubble tea.
What is some?
Shout out to chat time.
No,
I like it. It's good.
It's wonderful. What's something you've never had, Will? What's your Malik Monk? What's your bubble tea?
Does it have to be something white? Like,
no, it could be whatever.
Yeah.
Oh.
It just so happens
Can
that
be
mine
any-
was
yeah.
bubble tea.
That can be
lots
any-
of things, really.
I thought bubble tea before is just like the tea Matt Thomas drank in Vegas when the NBA season relaunched, or Orlando, you know?
Yeah, now that I'm thinking about it, I don't think I've ever had a latte, like ever.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just like a different style. Do you put milk in your coffee? You don't,
No.
right? Okay, so it's
I'm
just
lactose intolerant.
Mine is I've never. I guess this is.
so you would have to go with like an oat milk latte.
But that's easy, though. I could always order one, but I just prefer to drink the venom that is in a black coffee.
Yeah. This isn't a item, but it's a place. I've never been to Sneaky D's.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
I've only been, like,
we
once
should
or
correct
twice.
that because like
Heard the
first of all,
nachos?
the
Nachos are fire? Is
yeah,
that,
the King's Crown nacho plate is like probably,
Yeah.
you know, if two of us went, we could get there, but it's a perfect portion for like 3 people hanging out
Yeah.
having nachos. And then it's
do they
like,
have TVs there? And stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
They won't have the sound on. They're usually playing like some sort of punk music or punk adjacent music. But like, yeah, I've gone there to watch a Leaf game before where I'm only half paying attention.
If the Raptors win 3 in a row?
yeah, pizza party or a nacho party.
Yeah. No?
Can you explain the cultural significance of Sneaky D's?
So it's been here forever,
Mhm.
and it has a very small music venue upstairs that like a lot of bands on their way up have played at.
Okay.
So not only
Like
is it like you know, not quite Honest Ed's level of like that area of town landmark.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's been there forever and changed ownerships a bunch of times, but it's like been a staple of like the punk scene or the grungier scene, and then like some, you know, just rock bands have come through there. So it's pretty cool. And like even now they still get like punk or emo or rock bands like kind of on the way up.
Yeah.
Because there are so few like smaller to mid-sized venues in the city. That like you can, I think it holds like 200 people upstairs or something like that.
I've seen you drop a spreadsheet of your top albums of the
Oh,
year.
I actually have it pulled up right now.
Have any of those artists performed?
Can I name
your
some of
knowledge.
these artists right now for
Yeah,
you guys?
give us so set this up. What is this list actually?
So
yeah.
I put this out every year. I
Yes,
just like
yeah.
I put out my favorite albums of the year. Pretty straightforward. I just happen to organize them in a spreadsheet where like as the year's going, if I listen to a new album, I throw it in there so I don't forget about it later. Add it to a Spotify playlist so that I have it, and then like if I don't like something after I listen to it, I kick it out. And then at the end of the year, I've got all these albums that I listened to and liked, and like I've listened to a ton of music because I walk everywhere in the city, and if you go to the gym or whatever. So yeah, then at the end of the year, I put a list out. But the part that people think is over the top of me is like there's like 100 albums on there because
You're manually making Spotify Wrapped. Like you're making Spotify Wrapped from
yeah,
from
the
scratch.
issue is because I don't listen to everything exclusive. I use Spotify for like playlists and stuff, but like
Yeah.
I have a record player. I keep songs on my phone for like if I'm out for a run or going to the gym or something like
Yeah.
that. I don't want to be on data the whole time, so I just save songs on my phone. So Spotify Wrapped is not accurate snapshot.
All right,
Yeah.
one more interruption. Do y'all work out to music or
Yeah.
podcast?
Holy crap, man.
I don't listen to.
Please stick to the rundown from now on.
I'm enjoying all the banter.
I do like to get a lift in while I'm hearing Brian Windhorst
Workout.
argue with Tim Bontemps.
When I'm at the gym, it's music. When I'm just walking, biking, it's pod. Yeah.
It's pods for me all the time.
See,
When did-
I'm the opposite. It's music for me.
When
all
do
the
you
time.
listen
Like,
to
I
music,
don't
then?
listen to any podcast.
I listen to music when I'm just chilling at home, when I'm
Okay.
in company of other people. If
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, if I'm writing, I like to put on music.
this guy throws on howdy partners and then starts working out.
Yeah, man.
That's so
You
weird.
never did a bicep curl to
So I'm gonna name these
welcome to the
these
low
top
post.
top 50 albums, the first 50 on Blake's list.
All right.
Let's see how many we know, okay?
You're not going to go through all 50, right? You're not actually.
I'm just
going
gonna name them.
Okay.
Dizzy? Is that Drizzy?
What?
I'm only naming
Did
the
you
band
misspell
or the
Drizzy? artist.
Okay, Sydney Sprague. Is that the actress on Euphoria?
No, it's Ed Sprague's daughter.
That's something different. Yeah.
Boy Genius.
I do know.
That's
Boy
one.
Genius.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's one.
Yeah, shouts to Boy
Jeff
Genius.
Rosenstock. Does he work at CAA?
I don't. Nah, that's not.
That's a pretty
I'm
big
not-
one. He's like
Really?
one of the like foremost punk artists.
Oh
Right
wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bully.
Uh,
Yeah. Okay. Album is lucky for you. Hot Mulligan. That's what you needed on the Grizzlies.
I definitely need a hot mulligan.
Rat Boys. People have called us
That's
that.
us. That's
Rap
us,
Boys,
man. We're the
so
Raptors boys.
do you remember in the lead up to the last election before the Democratic primary, Bernie Sanders would have bands at all of his rallies
Mhm.
to play? And there's like a funny clip that went around of I would like to thank the Rat Boys for their music.
No
of Bernie
way.
Sanders saying that, yeah.
I'm
Okay.
enjoying all the rap boys.
I'm gonna select some of these. Warm Human. That's how I feel when I'm here.
Oh, yeah. Again, today.
Jason Isbell and the 400 unit. Is this like the white G unit? 400 unit.
Yeah, Jason Isbell is like the only like country-ish on my entire list. Like I don't really go that
Yeah.
way, but he's solid.
Come on, man. There's got to be something else.
The Dirty Nil.
Local band.
That's when you watch a Sean Dyche game.
Oh, awake but still in bed.
Yeah, that's me this morning.
Paramore, you would know.
Paramore, of course.
Paramore.
Yeah, come on, give me some names.
Carly Rae Jepsen.
Yeah, of course, man. Shouts to Carly Rae Jepsen.
Speedy Ortiz.
What?
Who?
You probably know Katra Amine, which is
Yeah,
Katra
yeah,
Nada
of course,
with
of course.
the
with
dual
Amine.
album with
Yeah.
Amine. Yeah.
Yeah. Slow tie. Is that what we eat at pie? When the service is slow at pie.
Which it never is.
That's
Never.
a UK rapper.
Yeah. Magazine Beach. You know
Those are
Bad Bunny.
just two nouns, man.
You know Bad Bunny.
I know
Bunny.
Bad Bunny. Yeah.
All right. Damn, man. Blake's music taste is
I need to see your Spotify Wrapped after this.
different.
Yeah.
It's
Is
all over the
different.
place.
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
Speaking of things we don't know, wanted to do a quick who he play for because Will, you mentioned this
Yes.
to me. So Stephen A. Smith. So they had an ESPN First Take inside the NBA TNT crossover during the in-season tournament,
Mhm.
and you had let me know that they had Stephen A. Smith play who he play for.
That's right.
So you know I love playing who he play for.
Yep.
So yeah, let's do it.
Okay, let's see if you can beat Stephen A. Smith because I'll tell you right off the top that he only got 1 out of 5.
Okay.
So,
Stephen A. really only talks about 6 NBA players.
and none of the 5 that are discussed here will get it. I'm pretty sure you'll do better than Stephen A. In fact, I'll guarantee
Set the line for me. What do you think I'm gonna hit?
2.5.
Okay, let's go.
2.5. And I'm gonna pick over actually. First
Okay.
one, Ish Smith.
Ish Smith. This
Ish
guy's
Smith.
been on like 15 teams.
That's right.
It's either Pistons or Wizards, man. I know it.
No.
So here's the thing.
No?
I will give you the lifeline here is what Stephen A. Smith guessed, and he was wrong about this. He guessed Detroit.
Okay, because
He was
that's
wrong
what
about
that's
this.
what I would have guessed.
Yeah.
And Blake told me it's not Wizards either.
Okay, as you mentioned, Ish Smith has been on many teams.
Yeah,
in the
all-time
league.
record. Yeah.
He's, I believe, back on this team.
Mm-hmm.
East or West?
East. This is the last hint.
He's good in the East.
He's back in
I
the
got
East.
one more hint for him. If
One
he
more
doesn't-
hint, one
if
more
he
hint, one
doesn't
more
get
hint.
But it's going to be funny if he doesn't get it.
One more hint.
Is the Raptors play them next week?
The Raptors play them.
This is not a helpful
There's
hint.
no way he knows that the Raptors play next week.
Charlotte.
Oh!
There you go.
Unbelievable. Bing bong! Only took 18 hints to get there. All right, next
Thank
one.
you, Blake.
Damian Jones.
Wait. Damian Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Describe him to me.
You remember Damian Jones? He
It's-
came up with the Warriors.
It's not who he played
One
for.
of
It's
those many
just
centers
who
they had.
he-
Never heard of him.
Will who?
Damian Jones. Who did Stephen A. Smith pick?
Stephen A. Smith guessed nothing because he was so shook. at
Okay, I'm
Damian
pretty
Jones.
shook too.
Yeah.
Never heard of him.
I'm gonna go with the Memphis Grizzlies.
That's a good guess because they've had a lot of injuries, but it's the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Okay, there's no way,
Oh, I
man.
had a hint for him, which
All right.
was just
and
like,
you know this? You know that
Yeah.
he was in Cleveland?
yeah, he's gonna
Okay.
play a little bit now that
I'm
now
not
that Evan
gonna lie.
Mobley's out.
That was the one that I didn't know.
He's
Okay.
he's sneaky though. Been on 7 teams already.
Okay, that's very sneaky.
Oh, the next one's good.
Next one. This one, I'll be honestly disappointed if you didn't get because you already know Dante Exum.
Oh yeah, man. That's Dallas Green,
Yeah.
aka Dante Exum, Dallas Mavericks.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, Stephen A. Smith guessed
Why didn't-
Houston
why-
after getting the hint that it's in Texas.
Why didn't we?
He guessed Houston.
Why didn't we sign Exum?
He's
Honestly.
very super long defense first point guard.
Isn't he such a Raptors
I know,
guy?
I know Bobby's screaming at his radio. He's like, "Oh, now you guys want non-shooting point guards?
Look,
now
I-
you guys want that?"
If Bobby's listening, I still want Chris Dunn, and even with Keontae George hurt, he's not playing a ton for
Well,
Utah.
don't
Bobby,
worry,
I
don't
know
worry,
where
don't
you
worry.
sit
Just saying.
during games.
No more mentions of players because they may come up later. So the other two that he listed were Otto Porter. Obviously, you know Otto's with the Raptors.
Otto made who he played for?
Otto made who he played for. Stephen A. Smith got that one correctly. He said Toronto.
Nice.
And then Garrett Temple was like the running joke on.
right,
played
because
for.
he do okay.
Not that he's a joke, just like it's
Yeah,
just like you never
because
know
he's
where
on so
gonna
many
be.
other teams.
Exactly.
Yeah. So did you
and
switch it up?
So
for me?
I gave you some bonus ones.
Okay, let's go.
To see if you can get 2 more because you would have obviously gotten Garrett Temple and Otto Porter.
Yeah,
all
let's
right?
go.
Next one. This one I'm almost insulting you by asking you this, but I just want to know.
Yeah.
Torrey Craig. You know where Torrey Craig's playing?
Torrey Craig been bouncing between Phoenix and Milwaukee the last 6 years. I swear to God.
That's true.
Oh my God.
We've seen Torrey Craig play against the Raptors.
Is he on one of those two
Twice.
right now? Is he on Phoenix or Milwaukee?
No.
Oh my God.
How do you not know this, man?
Torrey Craig.
How do I,
Lane
how do
is
I
in.
hint without
Yeah, can I get a
giving it-
hint?
I'm trying to
What?
think of how to do
Can
it
I-
without
can I
giving
get
it
a
away.
hint?
Yeah, I'll give you a hint.
Yeah.
You know what? I'll give you a hint. They're below the Raptors in the standings.
They're below the Raptors in the standings. Chicago Bulls.
Very good. Very good.
Ooh.
Took 18 hints for you to get
I was
there.
gonna be like he briefly started over Patrick Williams to punish Patrick Williams. I was like, will he get Patrick Williams in it who he played for?
All right. Next one. Keon Ellis. Saw a lot of Keon Ellis on my TV yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Describe him.
He has half blonde, half black.
Combination.
I guess braids.
Combination.
Yeah.
That's half Turkish from.
All right, just give me East or West, and I'll throw a
West.
He in the West.
The hint is I watched them yesterday.
You watched them yesterday. He is on the Clippers.
It's your favorite team, man.
Who?
No, I mean the Clippers are your favorite team, so I'm surprised you guessed it. It's Sacramento.
Oh.
You know who's Keon?
You would
No,
recognize
man.
him. You would be like, oh, that guy.
Wait, does he
because-
play?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's fully in
Yeah.
the rotation. He's like your
He
backup point guard.
plays?
Yeah.
He's ahead of Davion Mitchell, which
And
is why
he's got
Davion Mitchell's in
like flowing braids that are
Yeah.
like half blonde and half black. You would be like, oh, that guy if you saw him.
Yeah, he's decent.
Like you've definitely seen him.
He was like one of the primary defenders on Shea yesterday.
All right.
Chris Dunn.
Chris,
I literally just said it.
That's why I stopped you. I
Dunn.
was actually worried.
I think he was on Atlanta, right? But that's his last team. I need a hint.
You need a hint.
Yeah.
So I believe he went overseas and he came back. Well, he, like,
not
went to the
for a
G
whole
League?
season. He was definitely in the G League grind
Yeah,
for a
yeah.
little while. He played
Yeah.
for Atlanta a
He's
couple
out of
years
it.
ago. He played for Portland.
Is he on a good team or a bad team?
bad?
They're a bad team.
He's on a bad team.
Yeah, most of
He-
these are a bad teams. I'm not gonna lie.
His role is to just set up big shotgun. If you remember that reference from earlier in the season.
What? Utah?
Yeah,
Nice.
Okay,
That's
there we
pretty good.
go.
Larry Markkinen.
Yes.
All right, two more
Yes.
just for fun. Omer Yurtseven. Remember him?
Yo, he not on Miami anymore?
Mm-mm. They got Orlando Robinson.
007's gone?
He's gone.
Oh, Yurt 7.
Mhm.
Yurt 7 sounds like he's on the New Orleans Pelicans.
It does kind of sound like it, but
Yeah.
I think Cody Zeller has a spot there.
Who is it? Where is he?
Utah as well.
He's in Utah.
Yeah. And then last one, Ty Jerome. You remember Ty Jerome?
Yo, I don't know why I know Ty Jerome. He was in the Warriors system.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He was
And-
with the Thunder at one point.
And now he's
Yep.
out.
I might not even know. This.
He's out. Ty Jerome, I'm going to take a wild guess and say the Houston Rockets.
No. You want to guess?
So Thunder, Warriors. He started with Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
I thought
Ty
he was. I
Jerome.
thought he was in the G League. Honestly,
He might be on two-way. I don't know.
Cavs.
That's wow.
He got it?
Yes. Wow. Ball knower. Confirmed ball knower.
By the
Blake
way,
Murphy.
Two-way?
Apologies to James Herbert for not inviting you to play this with us.
Oh, it's all good.
He's never
man.
available when we ask him
Okay.
anymore. He's big time.
Wow, is he?
That's his thing. All right. We either.
He is not on a two-way. He's just only played twice this year.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay, we're either doing quarterly awards or getting to this one listener email. You guys pick.
Let's do quarterly awards. We'll get to the email.
Quarterly.
Yeah, I think we're probably planning like a full mailbag show next week heading,
Oh,
into,
yeah, yeah,
heading
we're
into
on
the
it.
holiday break, right?
We're
Yeah,
on
that's
it.
right.
So to those people who sent in, thank you, and
Yeah.
we will get to them.
Set this
To,
up, Alex, considering you have no picks at all. So.
to the to our biggest fan in Australia, actually, James O'Doyer. We'll get to you next
O'Doyer
week.
rules.
We'll get there next week. So the Ringer, who every writer there is friend of the program, put out their quarterly awards
And they were all Celtics.
this week. And did Tim Bonham say he heard from executives that the Celtics are favorites to win it all?
MVP, Tatum. Defensive player of the year, Kristaps. Most improved player, Derek White.
Most
Rookie of the
improved,
year,
Pritchard,
rookie of the year. Who are the rookies on that team?
Six
Man
man?
Horford.
Hauser.
6'5" Horford is actually pretty good.
Anyway, so these are real awards. The staff made their picks, and I wanted to hear your picks. So let's go through these. I want to hear from you guys. These are the main. We're not going to do the Twyman Stokes Award unless you guys want to.
It's Scare Temple.
Yeah,
again.
obviously.
Actually, it's Russell Westbrook. For coming off the bench.
Not bad, not bad.
MVP, Blake Murphy. Who is your first quarter MVP pick and a runner-up as well, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, this conversation is, as usual, a Jokic Embiid conversation.
Yeah.
I think at this point in the season, though, I go with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Okay.
Obviously, that is a team that is once again beating expectations. He is improved in kind of every area offensively, shooting 55% from the mid-range now. The defense has taken a step forward. I realize that they're a little behind the Nuggets in the standings, and Joel Embiid has these crazy scoring numbers that, like, literally no one's ever done this efficiently. But the team context, the growth Shai's shown, and honestly, if you look at, and again, I don't think this should ever be like the argument in these debates, but if you look at some of the advanced impact metrics like estimated plus minus that we've cited on the show before, Shai's number one.
Yeah. That's a good pick, honestly.
I like it.
I would have Jokic as the backup and probably Embiid to round out the
like
top
it.
three. But
I think top three. I pretty much had the same top three. I still got Jokic. I mean, I just don't see anybody coming for his title right now is like the best player in the game.
Mm-hmm.
The Nuggets have dealt with a couple of injuries here or there. Jamal once again has only played half of the games this season. They've shuffled out obviously a couple more pieces, and even though they for some reason can't seem to solve the Houston Rockets, it feels like Alperen Şengün and Fred VanVleet are their kryptonite.
Oh yeah, that is their kryptonite. They lose to them every time.
It's difficult.
That might be a first round series too.
And even though Jokic has got himself like ejected from a game recently, and then kind of threatened the referee afterwards,
He did. He was like, it would be different if this was in Serbia.
Yeah, it would be. I'm sure it would be pretty different. But yeah, it's still Jokic for me. Embiid is still a close second. Embiid is, I mean, he's having like essentially the same, if not a slightly better season than last year. I think that, under Nick Nurse, I never really thought that Joel would drop off at all. If anything, he would play even more minutes and even be more used in the offense. But I appreciate the fact that even without James Harden there to set him up all the time, he's been able to find that chemistry once again with another player in Tyrese Maxey, who I'll have later on this list. But
Embiid, by the way, 33.8 points per game right now. It's the 19th highest ever. The only guys in the 2000s to average that many were Harden twice and Kobe once.
Damn.
But of all the 18 names above him in points per game in league history, Embiid is doing it in the fewest minutes and on the highest true shooting percentage.
he's been excellent.
So he's having
every single game,
arguably
he
the
has
most efficient, high-volume scoring season we've ever seen.
Yeah.
I think if it's down to Embiid and Jokic again, they might just be looking at the team record
I think
between the two teams.
what's hurting against Embiid is he's reached that zone where it's like, okay, we've given you that award, but then we need to see you actually do something in the playoffs now
Yeah.
before we're comfortable circling back. To
It's
give
like
you the award.
Austin Matthews is on a 70-goal pace again, but you're not going to give him the heart until the Leafs get out of the second round.
It's like what happened to LeBron. Remember, LeBron got those two MVPs, but they lost a couple of times, and then was like, all right, well, you go to Miami, we're definitely not giving the MVP, even though he was definitely a better player than Derrick Rose that year.
Yeah, no,
And
that's
Dwight
fair.
Howard, who I think won it too.
Question for you guys: if Shea does win, which jersey you think he's pulling up in to accept the MVP?
Steve Nash, for sure.
You think he's doing the Nash?
The only
the
Canadian
Team
to ever
Canada
win
Nash,
the MVP.
not the Phoenix one. The Team
He
Canada.
might go
Steve Nash.
Phoenix. That was like, remember the like orange and gray
Oh yeah,
Phoenix
yeah,
that they
yeah.
had?
Yeah.
I guess it would be weird to wear another team's jersey to your MVP acceptance,
but he
like
would do it.
It's got to be a Nash.
Yeah, you think he'd do the Nash?
I think you have to.
Yeah.
I think he'd be more fashion forward. He's gonna wear that reversible cardigan that Gary Trent wore last year. no sleeves, no
With
shirt
nothing underneath.
Yeah.
Nah, he should support his teammates and show up in a Trey Bell Haynes Team Canada.
That'd be
All right,
hard.
next up, the Depoy Defensive Player of the Year. Looks like both of you have the exact same pick. So who you guys want?
Unfortunately, yeah. Look, the Timberwolves are the best defense in basketball and arguably the best team in basketball so far. Rudy Gobert anchors the defense.
Yeah.
I don't know what else. Like he's the most impactful defensive player in the league, even if I don't like it and aesthetically don't love it. It's Rudy Gobert, and I don't like. I think you make a case for Anthony Davis. I think you could make. Eventually, you'll be able to make a case for like, hey, Jalen Suggs could be like a guard who wins it.
Yeah.
But it's Gobert pretty safely for me right now.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think there's too much of a debate on this one. By
Who'd
the
you
way,
have as runners up?
I had AD. I had Goga Batadze just for fun. I know he got a great EPM, but no, I think for the
He has
Timberwolves,
a
like
better defensive EPM than Rudy Gobert.
I'm not surprised. He's been awesome. I feel like somebody from that Magic team should be rewarded.
You know
to
who
some
number one in
degree.
the league in defensive EPM is?
Don't say Jonathan Isaac.
No, Jalen
Okay.
Suggs.
Jalen Suggs.
Yeah.
Wow.
I want Suggs.
Yeah. Okay. So the Timberwolves are 18-5, and even watching some of the game yesterday against Luka, and Luka was cooking. Luka was doing all sorts of like, even when they got Luka into the mid range, and he was running off of 1 foot and shooting floaters over top of guys contesting, he was still making those. He had 39. The Mavericks had no chance in that game. They had no chance. The Timberwolves were just so much like better than them. Just kind of held them at an arm's distance. They got great depth to the roster now too. It feels like other guys are able to step in and contribute. And of course, the Timberwolves have the benefit where they're just bigger than everybody across the board, and that helps Gobert especially. But I mean, come on, I think Gobert is anchoring the best defense once again.
Yeah.
You got to give it to him.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Man, they got Nas
So
Reed.
he's gonna
Nas Reed is really good too. They
He
got-
almost had a
Nas Reed is
30 piece
amazing.
last
Yeah.
night.
Yo,
He's
I
amazing.
want Reed.
Also, another great value contract. I think Nas Reed making like
Yeah.
10, maybe.
Bobby Webster, pull over and make a trade call right now.
who?
I don't know anybody, man.
Okay. By the way, you Nas Reed's nickname on Twitter or on
Nasty
Basketball
Nas?
Reference? No, that'd be great, but
Yeah.
it's not.
What is it?
Big Jelly.
Okay.
Yeah, I was surprised to see that one.
Okay.
All right.
Anyway.
Next up is the MIP, the most improved player. Different picks here from you guys. Let's hear from you first, Blake.
I think there are 3 guys you could make an argument for here. I went with Tyrese Halliburton. I think the jump he's made is the hardest jump to make. Like, he worked his way up year over year to become a good player, but that jump from good player to you are an offense on your own is just such a significant jump. It has completely changed the timeline the Pacers are operating on. It makes his teammates better offensively. He's leading the league in assists on top of like putting up insane shooting numbers. Like, what is it? Like 52 overall, 44% on almost 9 threes a game.
Yep.
And again, leading the league in assists with almost a 5-to-1 assist to turnover ratio. It's a huge jump. And the reason I give it to him over Tyrese Maxey, who's made a similar statistical jump, is that I think Halliburton's jump from really good to absolutely the number one piece of a top offense is just a little tougher than Maxey going from really good to absolutely a really good number 2 in an offense around Embiid. It's just a little context dependent. And then I think you can make a really good case for Scotty Barnes as well.
I agree.
But Halliburton and Maxey have made their jumps to a bit of a higher level. So I had Scotty 2, Maxey 3. I think you could put those 3 guys in any order, though.
Yeah, I had Maxey first, and then I had Scotty second.
What doesn't click about Halliburton for you? Just he was too good already last year?
I think exactly. He hit that like ambiguous mark where it was like, I know what he is. I know what the Pacers are. The only issue the Pacers last year is that Halliburton got hurt for a lot of the year. And that kind of tanked the record. But, you know, we got
way more efficient across the board.
He has got way more efficient across the board. Like, I think I'm appreciating, you know, the jump, especially the way you're laying it out here. I think for me, it's just seeing Maxey, you know, I think narratively, it kind of set him up perfectly. Harden asked out. The Sixers are in trouble. We were all guessing. You know, I think Alex, you might have said that the Sixers may potentially be in the play-in.
Yeah, erase that.
I think they've already qualified for the playoffs.
Hot mulligan.
But
erase that. Awake, still in bed.
Yeah, man. But yeah, I mean, I think for Maxey to jump in to be, obviously he's number 2 behind Embiid, but the efficiency that he's scoring at, so much more of his own self-generated offense as well.
Almost double assist
The
rate.
pull-up threes that he was hitting to start the year, like I was like, is he as good as Damian Lillard right now?
OD.
He was like that. And of course, we don't need to explain to anybody in the Toronto market how good Tyrese Maxey is, but
Now,
see him do that on a
settled
consistent
back
basis.
in, though, as only a 40% three-point
Wow.
shooter. So here's a question I'll ask you, Alex. So we both had Scotty Barnes on our ballot. What do you think? Like, do you think it's possible Scotty could get there by the end of the season, or are Maxey and Halliburton jumping to too high a level?
No, I think he's right there. And I think Scotty's in, you know, clear contention for an all-star spot this season. You know, I think if he continues this, I think there's going to be a lot of heavy momentum, and it's going to come down. I think it's going to come down to Maxey and Scotty. Like, I really think it's going to be those 2. So,
yeah.
So we'll see.
I think the interesting with Scotty, because I went back and listened to the practice like scrums from yesterday, the interviews, and Scotty's answer more clearly when I asked him sort of the improvements about there was a big discussion about 3-point shooting because there were a bunch of follow-up questions because that's been the biggest thing for him. Scotty said he really worked on improving just like being shot ready, the shot preparation of like, you know, it's so much easier to say you can just shoot it anytime, but that's a skill in terms of how you receive the pass, you know, how quickly are you like getting to the point where you're deciding to shoot, all that kind of stuff.
Where are your feet and shoulders?
Where your feet and your shoulders. There's obviously a million details with this. And Darko was actually the one who credited Jama coming over from the Warriors, Jama Mahalela, for helping Scotty a lot with the improvements in the jump shooting. So
yeah, you see it.
Why isn't he helping everyone else?
One project at a time, my brother.
We got priorities.
Can we clone Jama then?
No, Blake, it's not like we have 15 other coaches who can help each player.
There really is one assistant coach to one player every single. Like, it's just seriously, they don't even watch. When they watch film after a shoot around and stuff like that, like or pregame shooting, whatever. It's just everybody sits with one coach on a laptop.
It's 15 synergy logins.
That's what they got Hazeltine for. 15 for one deal.
Next up is the Roy, the Rookie of the Year.
Sure, Roy.
Once again, you guys have the same picks.
Okay, this one is no one else can really argue this. It's Chet and Wemby. Chet obviously is ahead right now. His team is much more successful. He's been incredibly efficient. He stayed healthy too, which I know is a big concern because people kept showing the pictures of his like tendons after Remember, there was that like really skinny photo of his feet into his shoes. Like it was just like people were concerned that he wasn't gonna be able to hold up physically. He has been able to do that.
30 minutes a game too, not just like part time.
He's been excellent, man.
Yeah.
Not so good yesterday, but whatever.
It was a rough one yesterday. Yesterday was the day it looked like they could use one more center, maybe, but like traditionally, so Chet can
Call
space
us
it a little bit more. Yeah, I'm maybe trying
Bobby,
to wish,
the number
pull
starts.
over.
I'm trying to wish that into existence.
I
Bobby.
got 2 phones. Call either one, man.
I had Chet number 1 as well, Wemby number 2, and I think if you rounded out your ballot, Derek Lively probably gets number 3. I'd have to look a little more closely, but I didn't research much because it's so clearly Chet and
My
Wemby.
question for you, Blake, is like, Spurs are struggling right now. Let's say they lose 65 games. What would Wemby have to do to win? Could he win in that case if they lost like 65 games?
I don't think people care that much about your team context in Rookie of the Year. Like most Rookie of the Years, if you look back, weren't on super successful teams because rookies don't land in good situations like that. Rookies don't drive winning themselves that much. And I could actually see someone putting Wemby on their ballot first and being like, well, Chet's got way more help. Like he's had it, and some
It's
people
totally
will
fair.
use
Does Chet have
even
too
though
much
he's
help?
even though he's a rookie, some people will use the fact that he got to spend last year with an NBA team.
Yep.
Against, like, he's not a rookie to what a road trip is like, how an NBA environment works.
Is this going to become the Ben Simmons, Donovan Mitchell thing where they wear the hoodie defining what a rookie is?
Yeah, it is going to be that.
Corny
probably.
alert.
Call NBA corny, man.
I think
You know what?
Wemby just
NBA,
has to.
You're sweet.
Let's draft an all corny team sometime.
I think
Yeah,
Wemby's
that's
just
number
got
one.
to like show improvement
Dame
over
number
the
2.
course of the year.
Yeah.
Like right now, he's putting up crazy numbers, obviously for a rookie, but like he's not shooting well from like anywhere on the floor. He turns the ball over a ton.
Yeah.
He's like he makes good defensive plays, but they don't have a good defense, and like all that stuff is expected as a rookie. It's just really, really rare to have another rookie as good as Chet. So I mean, these guys are close to me still, and I think Wemby just has to show some in-season improvement over, he's got to be a better version of Wemby the second quarter and then the third quarter of the season and the fourth quarter of the season. I think it's going to be a coin flip.
Yeah, I like that. Next up is the Kotai, the coach of the year.
No one said the Kotai before, man.
The gaffer.
Gaffer of the year.
The gaff of the year. Yeah, you guys have different picks here. So let's start with you, Will.
I had Ime winning this.
Disgusting,
and,
brother.
Yeah, I mean,
Sorry, Blake.
he really is.
Yes, got Blake to break.
Here's the thing with Ime. I know that record-wise, Orlando's made a much bigger jump, and I had Jamal Mosley number 2, and I think he probably will win this if Orlando keeps it up. But the total change in how seriously the Houston Rockets approach basketball,
Yes,
from season to season, is not just because they brought in Fred VanVleet. It's not just because they brought in Dylan Brooks and and Jeff Green and some other guys. Jock Landale, remember him? He's there too.
Young Jock.
the sports guy.
That's right. But like, the Rockets are so serious about defense, and like, yes, they got some personnel changes, but it's not just the personnel. Like the existing young players who are there are playing defense. That's one of the hardest things. That's part of why Jamal Mosley has been so successful. It's like same deal. You got young guys to play hard and together on defense and be totally committed on that front. And the Rockets, I've seen that from them. Şengün like really stepping up on defense. And I think the thing with Ime you always have to factor in is he's willing to discipline these guys if they're not performing up to whatever his standard is. So he
tries to discipline LeBron, and LeBron's not even on his team.
Yeah, I think that actually added an extra bonus that he beefed with LeBron as part of the season. But like, I just think that Houston was, for me, I had no expectations for Houston. I think when we did a preseason thing, I was like, oh, how are they going to win 30 games even? This team sucks. They don't care about basketball. It doesn't matter how much money they spend. Turns out it did matter how much money they spend, and it starts at the top. So got to give Ime credit, but I think Jamal Mosley probably wins this one. I have him second.
That's who I've got first is Jamal Mosley. I just think, Orlando is, again, this is like kind of like the most improved. Like Houston's taken a bigger step relative to last year.
They were just such an unserious franchise last year.
But Orlando has taken a step from like respectably bad to like actually good, whereas I think Houston is just like, they're gonna finish a little under 500 and they're gonna be a really annoying team to beat night to night and things like that. So I just think Orlando's gotten to a higher level than Houston has reached, and again, they're 2-3 in defense. Chris Finch is in the mix there as well, with Minnesota having the number 1 defense. I think we know that team can score with Ant and Cat.
He's a good pick.
Them being the number 1 defense. And then I think Mark Daigneault of Oklahoma City, this is a little bit of like, and this happens sometimes in Coach of the Year voting, like, it's like, well, all of these cases are good, and Dagno probably should have got it last year, maybe. So you give him the extra bump. So I had him second, but I can't figure out how much of that is, well, he didn't get rewarded for the 16-win jump last year, so I'm going to give him like a little extra half credit here.
You know how they have like all NBA first team? They should have an all coach first
second team.
Just top 5 coaches. And bottom 5, the Monty Williams Awards.
Oh, man.
No, you talk about culture setting. I see what I mean. Listen, the talent's different on the roster. You could argue, but losing 20 whatever games in a row is losing 20 whatever games in a row, man.
Yeah.
And lastly, the sixth Moy, the sixth man of the year.
Oh God.
Who do you have for this, Will?
I have Malik Monk, which I think it's 6th man of the year, but it's also the award for you turn on your TV on a random night and you check into the fourth, because typically, especially if you're on the East Coast, you're watching the Raptor game or you're watching some other game, or you're wrapping up your night. You're like, all right, let me just throw on the TV and whatever. I'm just gonna fade. Right?
Wrap yourself in a blanket.
That's actually my go-to move. Is I fade around like 10:30, 11 o'clock, maybe even 11:30. The Kings are always on, and I turn on the Kings game, and Malik Monk is always performing miracles in crunch time. He's always a big part of what they do in terms of sparking the team, in terms of even closing some games as well. I mean, he's just objectively like a good player as well. He's averaging 14.8 points per game, 5 assists per game. You know, shooting really well from 3. Obviously, he can really score. But yeah, on any given night, you turn on the TV and you see Malik Monk. He's probably dropping like 30 while they're yelling like the beam. So
yeah,
shout out to Malik Monk.
I love guys like that. It's like, hey, is Jordan Hawkins the best bench scorer in the league? It's like, no, I just caught the right 4 Pelicans games this year when I tuned in the second half.
Who you got, Blake?
Bogdan Bogdanovic. I think this is a weird one because like I think he might be like actually not even think. I think he's the second best player on the Hawks, but he comes off the bench.
He's better than DeJounte?
I mean, it's close. DeJounte has like fallen off a little defensively. I think he still has it there, but I don't know, man. I was not impressed by him the other night, and certainly in general. Anyway, either way, Bogdan's a huge part of that team. He's averaging over 17 points a game. We see within their offense how much having him there helps a lot of the Trey sets, because that is a second ball handler when DeJounte sits or when Trey sits or whatever. He's okay defensively, knocking down 40% of threes again. I don't want to be overly simplistic, and this is who is averaging the most points off the bench. But I really do think Bogdan is one of the most impactful bench players in the league.
He also has one of my favorite skills in basketball, which is when the pass is high and then they catch it high and then they don't dip the ball.
Yes.
And they just immediately shoot it high. Catch it high, shoot it high, no dip.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He had an amazing one in the corner the other night.
Against the Raptors on Wednesday.
Amazing.
It's a sick skill, man.
That's what all the Raptors players got to work on. I want to see Chris Boucher do one of those in the corner.
No dip?
Happy that neither of us had Austin Reeves, even though Austin Reeves is going to win the award because it's the Lakers. We both had Cole Anthony second, which I think is...
he's been great for them.
Yeah, I mean, 15, 4, and 4 off the bench for them with pretty good efficiency.
Yeah.
Not as good a defender as their top guys, but he checks in usually with Suggs still on the floor or Anthony Black on the floor, so the defense is still really good. Yeah. And then I think, this is probably both of us having him second on our ballot is a nod to, man, it's been a long time since the Raptors had a scoring guard off the bench.
Oh, all these guys I would love to have on the Raptors.
This is what this award is. It's like, although no matter who they got, if they picked up one of these 6 man of the year candidates, they would start.
Wow, that's fine with me, honestly. No, it's funny. I do think that there will be a push at certain points for Russell Westbrook.
Here?
No, not here.
Oh, for
just
the 6 man.
wide. I'm just going to predict.
I freaked out
many months from now. It's just people will push for Russell Westbrook because he volunteered to come off the bench, and that fixed the Clippers.
And like 11, 6, and 5 off the bench is not a ton, but it's like 5 assists a game off the bench.
I'm just telling you, narratively.
But I think to Blake's point though, the 6 man of the year usually just goes by like points scored, like off the bench. Okay, before we take the break, one more thing. I pulled up our preseason predictions since we're on Sportsnet.ca, since we're at the first quarter mark. Hot Molly time for our NBA Finals predictions. We may revise it now, okay? So if you want. Will, you've got Milwaukee versus Denver in the finals with Denver winning. Would you like to molly any of that?
Still doable.
Okay, so you're sticking with it.
Yeah, it's not a bad pick.
Okay, Blake, you got Milwaukee and Phoenix with Milwaukee winning. Any mollies?
I don't think Milwaukee's going to win. I can't bring myself to put Boston in the finals though, so I'm gonna stick with it.
Okay, I've got Milwaukee and the Clippers winning.
Wow, we all went Milwaukee.
I'm gonna revise that.
That is a pure like Boston.
I'm revising it to Philadelphia and the Lakers.
There you go.
With the Lakers winning. So I'm off the Clippers. Yeah. So
that's it.
Yeah, that's it.
That's your whole. Oh, I thought we were gonna go other picks. All right.
Oh, what other picks? Oh, you want to do other ones?
I don't know.
I think that's all we have.
You're hosting, so
No, we're good. We're good on time. It's
I'm
3:35.
enjoying all the banter.
why did he pause for so long after I'm enjoying all the banter?
When we come back, 2 chain winners for this week.
All right, I
and
can't
then
wait.
We will preview Raptors Hawks.
Okay, we're gonna take our last break of this beautiful Friday in Toronto. I've been your host, Will Lou. You've been listening to the Raptor Show on the Sportsnet Radio Network. Welcome back to the Raptor Show on the Sportsnet Radio Network. I'm your host, Will Lou. Continue to be joined by Alex Wong, Blake Murphy. Alex, we hand out the Raptor Show Chain of the Week every Friday to give appreciation to all the people who make this thing possible besides the 3 of us on air. I have no idea who you're going to hand the chain out to, so what you got for us?
Yeah, we got 2 chain winners this week who work very hard, behind the scenes and help us with the show. We were playing who he played for in the last segment, and one of the running jokes, which is not really a joke, is that you don't know anybody that works here, you don't appreciate people that work on the show. So I figured we'd bring these chain winners on one by one and play who he worked with. So let's put the first mysterious chain winner on the Zoom here. So I'm going to give you 3 guesses, okay, my brother, before mysterious guest speaks.
Who is this?
So 3 guesses here. Mark, is this person Mark McDonald, Luke Swardron, or James Wilson? You have to guess. They have all had a hand in helping us with the show.
Give me those 3 names again.
Mark McDonald, Luke Swardron, and James Wilson.
This man feels like a Luke to me. Is this a Luke?
Is this your final answer?
I want to say for the record that a lot of people work remotely, so it's hard to always see them in the
Incorrect.
in the
Trick question. This is Josiah Bosch. He has created all of the Raptor Show graphics for
I
us.
appreciate you.
Social
Love your
graphics.
work,
I
man.
believe the bingo card was his as well.
Wow.
TikTok, YouTube, quote graphics. He has been working on the show. They call him the graphics Mamba.
Yeah.
Josiah, man, thanks for joining us. I really appreciate you. I do appreciate you. I want you to know
you're
that.
a producer, so
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I'm happy to be here. And Will, I've talked to you in person a couple times.
Man.
We ran into Josiah at a Raptors game.
Will heard the name Josiah, and he's like, yeah, Isaiah Joe, Oklahoma City Thunder.
You know how many people are running to at the game these days?
Man, yeah, you're stiff-arming fans left and right.
Josiah, what do you know about Will since he knows nothing about you?
Well, I mean, come on now. Yeah.
He's the host of the Raptors show. I'm happy to be here. Outside of that, I know he's a Liverpool fan.
Hey.
But he ignores me in person, so I can never talk.
Wow.
Damn.
No, I'm just kidding.
Damn.
Yeah,
it's got to be tough because he works on JD Bunkis' show sometimes, and he found a coworker who's even worse to him than Bunkis.
Can you confirm these reports?
No. JD's
Hard.
Josiah is an Arsenal fan because I take the time to get to know these people.
Yeah.
He lived in Lithuania for a year.
Oh,
he
wow.
also used to do play-by-play for the U of T's basketball and soccer team.
Oh, wow.
And the crazy fun fact is his dad's name is Chris Bosch.
No.
True story.
Wow. Like, with a C or no?
Bosch. Yeah.
Wow.
Do you think him and his dad spell their last names different?
No, I just
He didn't know how to spell. He didn't know Josiah's name.
yeah, it's all good, man. Luke, I'll see you later. All right.
Anyways, Josiah, I really appreciate you. Just want to say that I'm wearing the chain for you because I know you're working from home today, I believe. So
Thanks, man.
I really
Yes,
appreciate. I really appreciate it, man.
I appreciate you guys having me here. I love working on the show, and looking forward to some more.
Salute, man.
No, salute. Great hair, man. All right, get him off the Zoom so we can get the other person.
Wow.
Yeah.
I know Josiah. Sometimes you put him on the emails.
You don't. This is the thing people don't know about Will. He doesn't read emails.
I barely read the rundown.
We started a group chat, the 3 of us, because we chat about the
in
show.
that group chat. I say things sometimes.
Yeah, but you say things, but you don't read things. Group chats can't be one way.
Yeah, you're right. I want it to be one way, but it's the other way.
It's every way.
Josiah sometimes will text me like additional facts for our show or whatever. Like when we were talking about what is Dennis's team in football, he texted me and said Eintracht Braunschweig, or however you say that.
That's actually pretty close.
Yeah, and there was I don't know. There was one day I was trying to figure out the most. When we were stacking people to guard Wemby, and I was trying to figure out how many numbers of combinations there are. He confirmed that my math was correct. So shout out to him.
Nice. This man doing factorials.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. All right.
Yeah.
A man of many talents.
So we do
many
have
names.
a second chain winner.
No.
If producers could let me know if mysterious person number 2 is ready to receive his chain. But in the meantime, I know honorable mentions this week to Ryan Fabro and Jared Manatad.
JR, you're so close, man.
JR, even though you helped Will do a React pod this week, despite his mic breaking.
Yeah, I know that delayed you too, because typically he would have gone home earlier. He actually stuck around extra to make sure the React pod was able to be recorded.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the stats you put up on the React pod don't count toward your Raptors show chain points.
That's why.
It's the
That's
same
why.
like he got the
Right.
bubble tea, he went and grabbed it, but it happened at a break and you could have just got it yourself. So those points don't count.
He
either.
literally came down here for no reason.
Yeah, he had the Oscar Shibwe where like he got his first chain, but it was an in-season tournament final, so there's no stat record.
I was gonna guess our next coworker's name was Oscar Shibwe.
Oscar Shibwe. That's a TV brand my parents wouldn't let me buy growing up. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah,
You were gonna
JR.
introduce the next guy.
Well, JR also. Someone please let me know if the second guest is ready. We're also want to shout out JR for filling in yesterday during the intro of the show.
Okay, to take viewers behind the scenes, I was here in the studio at 1:56.
Okay, no one's docking you for
So,
attendance.
We did
This
that
ain't
just
Raptors.
Will wants the chain.
This
we
ain't
did that
Raptors
just to bully
practice.
JR, all right? Let's be honest.
Yeah.
I was looking through the crack there to see if he had started talking so I could interrupt him. But shouts to JR, man. Salute you. I'll see you down in the arena tonight, all right?
Yeah. You know what? We're waiting for our second guest. Why don't we just preview Hawks Raptors real quick first
right.
in between?
All right.
It is time now for Between the Lines, brought to you by Bet Rivers. Take a chance. On Wednesday, the Raptors were 1.5 point favorites. They beat the Hawks 135 to 128. It was a game without very much defense. It was a game with some hot shooting, which is fairly rare for the Toronto Raptors. 135, 128. That total would put you to 263. Damn. So as a result of that, tonight, the Raptors are 2-point favorites. So they're the line has gotten a little bigger.
They were
from
not
last
impressed
time.
with the win. I get it.
Yeah, they're a 0.5 point impressed with the win. The over-under last game was 240.5.
Okay.
Which tied the highest over-under in Raptors history with the Pacers game from earlier in the year.
Okay.
We got a new record. The over-under
right.
tonight is a franchise record, 241.5. So Raptors -2, 241.5. On the injury side, still no Jalen Johnson, still no AJ Griffin or Kobe Buffkin for the Hawks. DeAndre Hunter is once again questionable. Raptors all clear. Koloko and the two ways are out. But Grady Dick's back up, Otto Porter available, etc. How you feeling?
First off, Koloko in the two ways. Kind of nice. It's like a little.
They
little,
were also
little
on my album list.
I wouldn't be surprised. I saw Sloth Cut on there or something.
Rap boys.
One of those. I mean, it's difficult to just project based on last game. I think both teams will actually make adjustments to each other, which is actually why I'm kind of a fan of playing a team back to back. It's a little bit more interesting because
You're a fan of everything.
it's more interesting that way because the way I was thinking about it even in yesterday's show was when we reviewed the game was just like, what can the Raptors do better to guard against Trae Young
And I was a
what
little. Were you a little surprised to hear? And maybe Dennis just didn't want to give that much away, but it sounded like they weren't intending to change that much, even though they gave up 128.
Yeah, I'm not too surprised Darko doesn't have a secret up his sleeve, but yeah. I mean, I want to see what the adjustments were, even within the game. We talked about with Dennis about how he decided to match minutes, and I like that Dennis actually brought up the idea that he himself was the one who had that idea along with some assistant coaches to sort of do that. I thought that was a tactical adjustment. Now I want to see how Atlanta attacks that. I want to see how Atlanta attacks that even on a more like micro basis in terms of just like, okay, so if Trae Young looked at the film, he would have noticed that Dennis actually did sneakily go under some screens by doing that spin move. So can he use a crossover and pull up and trick Dennis into doing that? So like there's adjustments that you would make.
Go around the screen and then pull back.
Yeah.
And then you've kind of got the like pin down as well.
Exactly. So I'll be watching for all those little things. I still think the
bet
Raptors.
Capella picks up an offensive foul doing that if they try it. Like the pivoting your screen that way from vertical to horizontal.
Pancake Mamba.
Yeah.
He's going to pancake Dennis with one of those illegal screens.
Dennis did eat 2 offensive fouls the other game, too.
Boucher ate a bad screen, too, right? That was Wednesday's game? That was not earlier in the week, right? He ate one.
All right, make your pick. Chain winners ready.
I'm probably going to go with the Raptors again, though, just because I think that the Raptors' size is something you can't really adjust for, especially without Atlanta's bigger players coming back into the lineup. Having said that, though, if the Raptors aren't hot from 3 again, it'll be difficult to keep pace with Atlanta because they have a truly great offense. So we'll pick the Raptors just mostly because they're at home. But
That was Between the Lines, brought to you by Bet Rivers. Take a chance.
Yeah, and now back to our second chain winner of the week.
Oh, brother.
If we can put him up on the Zoom right now. So.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
You got this one? You don't need the 3 guesses? I have 3 names for you.
Let's do it. Let me just hear your 3 names. But I love that. I love that kit, man.
Yeah. Jake Scholes, Michael Collins, or Michael Gibbons.
Goodness.
Yeah.
I know
Gibbons,
there's somebody who's a Liverpool
Michael
fan that
Collins,
works for the show. That's not just
Scholes.
me.
Yeah.
And you already gave me a trick name last time.
Yeah. Would I trick you again?
Most likely, yeah.
Yeah. So what do you think? Or
Or
you could go off the board and actually just take a guess.
first off, he looks like one of the Liverpool's academy boys that lost away yesterday in Europa League. Like I'm not entirely sure that this isn't one of them. This isn't Ben Woodburn or something. But
Who you got, man?
give me the 3 names again.
Jake Scholes, Michael Collins, Michael Gibbons.
I thought you were going to show me Kyle Craig, but I'm going to go with Kyle Craig.
It is Kyle Crave. You got it, man. You got it.
Take that, Josiah.
Kyle Crave.
That's huge, man. That's huge.
Listen,
Kyle Crave has uploaded every single of our 2 p.m. pods since the inception
that's like
of the Raptor show.
At least 500.
He's helped us edit out a lot of stuff.
Let's not talk about
Yeah,
that.
we're not talking about that stuff. He's worked early mornings from the morning show to the last day of the show. He was an intern in January 2021, and since August 2021, he's been an employee. Obviously, you and him share the same favorite soccer team.
That's
and
right.
his favorite
I
Raptor.
have the same kid as well.
Yeah, and his favorite Raptor is Terrence Ross. Kyle, man,
All right.
just want to show our appreciation for you as
Bro,
well.
appreciate you, man. I've heard of you.
Appreciate you guys.
Yeah, that's
You'll never pod alone.
you'll never Paul alone. This is
Yeah.
this is a big day for the JR and the afternoon Utes
There's no
group
way
chat
this isn't Connor Bradley, by the way.
that they have. Kyle, man, anything you want to say? 30 seconds, man. Come on.
Man, it's just nice to be on with y'all. It's been a long time coming, and nice to meet y'all in person-ish.
Yeah,
I appreciate you.
Appreciate you, Kyle and Josiah. Thank you. Hope to see you again soon. And JR actually has a statement from Riz Sports. He says, JR is happy 2 members of his team have been awarded the Raptor Show Chain of the Week. Mr. Manatad will continue to focus on his work as the season and show continues.
You know what JR's heading for here? Yeah, Steph Curry has 3 rings, but he hasn't won a Finals MVP. That's where JR's going right now.
I was told JR Manatad couldn't produce.
It's the infamous Anthony Edwards club. He was like, yeah, they got Katie, but we got Jaden McDaniels.
JR Bremer,
You know?
you're on your way to getting the chain, man.
Call him J.R. Bremer.
Just wait another year, brother.
That's tough.
Yeah.
You sweet.
Yeah. JR, you definitely sweet, man. But thank you for getting us our shot time.
Thank you to Josiah and Kyle.
No, thank you to everybody.
Well deserved for the chain, honestly.
Thanks to the Raptors for winning a game so we can have a relaxing Friday. We just got to hung out today. We talked a little bit about basketball, but mostly
Your William hung out. Yeah.
no,
I'm
never.
enjoying all the banter.
Never say that again. All right, that does it for us today. I've been your host, Willow. You've been listening to The Raptor Show on the Sportsnet Radio Network. Make sure you find The Raptor Show wherever you listen to podcasts. Subscribe, and please rate and review the show. Thanks once again to producer and co-host Alex Wong, Blake Murphy, our board producer Derek Randale, Jennifer Rolnick, David Sis, J.R. Manatad, helping behind the scenes. We'll see you next week.